Welcome to the space for transformational leaders to unleash their magic, see better client results, work lighter, and live source. Hi, this is Darla, and welcome to today's video about the vulnerability of asking. In this video, we are going to cover the 3 asks that every transformational business owner needs to be practiced in. As a little bit of background, I just came back from retreat, and during our retreat, all of our clients were practicing making offers in an authentic and aligned way and actually asking their clients, their audience, to make a commitment to their own transformation. It was really, really fun and exciting to see all the different ways that people's natural expression showed up in the way they made their offers. And there was a lot of conversation about asking. Fast forward, I came home, had a little bit of downtime, and got back into work with clients. And we have a business coaching program called Sourced Magic Business. And we met with our Sourced Magic Business clients yesterday. And in class, this same thing came up about asking and really about the vulnerability of asking. One of the things I see over and over and over again, I've probably recorded videos about this before, is that a lot of times entrepreneurs will end up taking a bunch of different action, like creating a new sales page or website or PDF download or quiz or assessment or whatever, to put themselves out there, and it ends up taking them a really long time, and it may or may not be effective. Sometimes it is, but all of this activity is making them feel like they're doing something, but it's also helping them avoid actually having to speak to a human and ask for the sale. In addition, I see people all the time create webinars or trainings or Facebook Lives or whatever it might be, where they are making an offer, right? Or they're wanting to bring people in and invite them to work with them. But in that space, they're teaching, telling, giving. And when it comes to the ask, there's no asking, and it ends up being really ineffective. Now, I hear people all the time teach, be sure to give away your best stuff. And I have no issue with that, with giving generously. That's my goal here with my YouTube channel. And we have to be practiced at the art of asking. If we're giving all the best stuff, but there's no invitation, whether it's verbally or energetically, for someone to say yes and step in with you, you're going to be broke, right? Your business isn't going to be a business. It'll be a hobby. It'll be a charity, right? So with that, let's go into the 3 asks. The 3 asks. And this is just to help break it down for you as a transformational leader. So the first ask is you want to ask your audience to reflect. So let me pause for a moment here. What have you been hearing so far in this video when I've shared about the different ways that people show up in business that get in the way of them actually making money? How might this relate to you? Just take a minute, take a breath, and consider that. Maybe even write it down. What's coming up for you right now in this video as I'm pausing and asking you to reflect on what I'm sharing. As I am being slow and deliberate and quiet here on video, what's coming up for you? And how is that looking for you in your business? Are you asking your audience to reflect? In my retreat leader training, I call it taking people with you. taking people with you. So these questions and reflections and asking people to look within and asking them, are they interested in that? Do they want that? What would be possible for them if they had that result? What's going on in your life now that this transformation would make a difference in? So often people are so concerned about what it is they're saying to teach that they miss this part, right? In fact, I could even go back to the first minute of this video and ask you to reflect on whether knowing the 3 types of asks would be helpful for you, and this video would be better. So are you asking them to reflect? Number 2, are you asking people if they're interested? Are you asking people if they're interested? This is a big one, okay? This is a big one because what comes up for us when we think about asking people if they're interested is this automatic fear of rejection. And so generally speaking, we don't ask. In my Sourced Magic Business class, one of the students was speaking about Lori Greiner on Shark Tank and how much she admires her. And when she was thinking about Lori and describing what it was about Lori, one of the things she said is, besides that she's confident and clear and stylish, she said she's not afraid to let people know she's interested. She's not afraid to let people know she's interested. So I was so struck by this and how this shows up in marketing a transformation business in a sales conversation. You're afraid, I'm not saying you, but a lot of us are afraid to know, are they interested? Are they into this? And so we do all kinds of things to dance around that question. Is this speaking to you? Are you interested in going where I want to take you? Which, the reason we're afraid of it is because at some level we're going, do you like me? Will you accept me? On the flip side, your client is probably feeling a little uncomfortable letting you know they're interested. And especially if you're in a conversation and they don't really know how it works, they don't know the investment, their ego, part of them, is terrified that they're actually going to transform, right? And they're going to become a different person. That ego gets really nervous about that. And so they're afraid to let you know they're interested a lot of times, right? So this conversation about interest is really vulnerable. So a lot of times people will skip over it and they'll go right to the offer. I have a program coming up, da da da. And then the potential client says, oh, great, send me the link, da da da. And that exchange happens over and over again. And there's never this conversation. Are you interested? I'm going to pause and ask you to reflect. Has this ever happened for you? Where it gets a little uncomfortable and you just go on to the next piece. So number 1, ask them to reflect. Number 2, ask them if they're interested. Number 3, ask for their commitment. And this is the one that probably everybody's aware of. When you actually ask someone to register for your program, to make a deposit, what you're really asking, you're going from interest to commitment. If you're afraid to talk about, are you interested, then going to commitment is going to feel pretty scary. Or ineffective if you bypass that, right? So asking for their commitment is really asking for the sale. I know this happened for me, and I know it has happened for countless of my friends and colleagues and clients. That leap from we're having this really intimate, vulnerable conversation about them reflecting on what's going on in their own life, them expressing that they're interested in the transformation. And now I'm going to ask, and specifically I'm going to ask for money, Or I'm going to ask, we make up all the stories. I'm asking them to invest in me. Right? And so it feels like you're doing something to them. But what you're really doing here is you're asking them to make a commitment to themselves and the transformation they just got present to. And that commitment is represented financially and in time in various ways. If you're not willing to ask for the commitment, to put it out there and say, this is the investment, this is how it works, this is how we'll get started. If you feel uncomfortable with that, they're going to feel unsafe around that. And things aren't going to work out so well. Okay, now, how do we practice this? How do we practice this? Well, of course, having conversations for transformation, having, whether you call them sales conversations, enrollment conversations, strategy sessions is what we call them in our company. Practicing these conversations, of course, but you can also practice these skills in your life, which is going to expand your ability to hold space for this when you're in your business. So asking people to reflect on what you just shared. When I spend time around transformational friends, that's so normal, right? Where it's like, oh, what did you hear in what I just said? We talk like that, right? Someone tells a story and someone says, oh, that's really interesting. Oh, is it? What did you hear? That's not a normal conversation in other circles, right? So how do you start bringing these asks into your life? Asking people to reflect. Asking if they're interested. This might be, asking for help is a huge way to expand this muscle. Whether it is help lifting your suitcase into the overhead. That's often something that a lot of the people who travel a lot go to. Asking for someone to support your cause or your event or come to your party, right? Ask if they're interested. We have a client who's starting a nonprofit and is gathering people to help with that. And her normal tendency would be to get it all figured out and then tell people exactly what she needs. And the new possibility is to say, hey, are you interested in being a part of this? This is the big picture. Ask if they're interested. And then 3, what would you like to bring to the table in this conversation? What role would you like to play? What could you commit to as we're creating this? So instead of her figuring it all out, she's enrolling people in the vision and then asking them to bring to the table what they bring to the table. It's a whole different energy. So how can you practice these 3 things? Asking people to reflect, asking if they're interested, and asking their commitment into your day-to-day life. So when you're face-to-face with a potential client, you've worked that muscle and it becomes easy. This is Darla Ledoux, founder of Sourced, author of Shift the Field. Thank you for being here. I would love your comments below. Let me know your reflection on this video, and I'll see you soon.